a former central bank governor, was it? Licaros, but we'll find out. He's the president and CEO of Asian Hospital and Medical Center. We will talk to him about the state of hospitals nowadays, particularly Asian Hospital, because we have always been pushing for the return of public confidence for hospitals. And we will also be speaking to Governor Benjamin Diokno, Governor of the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas, to give us our day's lesson plan on banking in the Philippines. But before that, let's go to the headlines on the front page of the Philippine Star. And here are the stories from today's edition. Malacanang denies reports that Metro Manila's healthcare system is under severe strain after the recent spike in COVID-19 cases. The palace says the critical care use in Metro Manila is at 63%, which is moderate risk. Critical care includes hospital beds and intensive care units, mechanical ventilators, and isolation beds. This came after the health department reported that at least 11 hospitals in Metro Manila have reached 100% utilization for their ICU beds that are dedicated to COVID-19 patients. Okay, then, but the DOH clarifies that these do not reflect the entire capacities of the hospitals, as some do not comply to the DOH order that at least 30% of the capacity should be dedicated for COVID-19 patients. Meanwhile, more groups and individuals have filed petitions before the Supreme Court against the controversial Anti-Terrorism Act, which President Rodrigo Duterte signed last Friday. A group led by lawyer Howard Calleja and former Education Secretary Brother Armin Luistro electronically filed over the weekend, but also physically filed their 83-page petition yesterday. Albay Congressman Edsel Lagman also filed his own 55-page petition. The third group of petitioners were led by Far Eastern University Law Dean Mel Santamaria. The Makabayan bloc of the House of Representatives also filed their own petition, and amid all these criticisms against the law, various government officials have given assurances that the Anti-Terror Act will not be abused. In other news, Palace makes it clear that President Duterte's seemingly weak appearance during his visit to Zamboanga City last week was not health-related, but caused by an emotional issue following the death of 4 soldiers at the hands of police in a shooting at Jolo, Sulu. Palace said Duterte looked frail because he said he was sad about the incident between several members of the armed forces and the police. The president went to Zamboanga City to reach out to soldiers, urging them to remain calm and not to exact revenge as the investigation continues. Lastly, the Manila Electric Company, or Meralco, apologized for the bill shock that customers experienced. The company assured that they will refund any overcharged amount and that they are also waiving the 47 peso convenience fee for online payments. Meralco President and Chief Executive Ray Espinosa told the Senate Committee on Energy that they are now working on easing the woes of customers, such as deploying more people to the business centers to attend the customers' needs. Okay, so those are the major stories on the front page of the Philippine Star. And before we start our lineup of interviews, allow me to just butt in, so to speak, because this is the headline. This is actually the front page of the Philippine Star. And there's the statement from the presidential spokesperson, Metro not running out of hospital beds. Now, I just want to make a clarification here. No one ever said we are running out of hospital beds, but it is unfortunate that certain people always use the term fake news when it is not in agreement with the position of the executive or the IATF. We will always hear the word fake news. Now, here's the problem there. The story that came up yesterday was about how rising cases of COVID-19 has led to many hospitals reaching full capacity in their COVID-19 units. Now, what's the point? To call attention to the fact na tumataas na naman po ang bilang ng mga kaso ng COVID. I think the government, media, and civil society are all on the same team when it comes to telling the public, be careful, cases are on the rise. This is not a reflection of anybody's competency, whether it's a good government, or bad hospital, etc. The fact is cases are rising and the hospital units, COVID units, are filling up. And the reports came from the DOH. It was the DOH that said that several hospitals, let me just read this for you. These hospitals that are filled up as far as their COVID-19 sections or units are concerned, or beds, are the Veterans Memorial Medical Center, UST Hospital, University of Perpetual Health, Dalta Medical Center, Tondo Medical Center, AMOSUP Siemens Hospital, Philippine Children's Medical Center, Metro North Medical Center, Las Piñas Doctors Hospital, De Los Santos Medical Center, Chinese General Hospital and Medical Center, and Capitol Medical Center. That came from the DOH. That did not come from some reporter, some newsman, some anchor. Sa gobyerno po nang galing yung impormasyon na yan. In addition to that, according to Usec Vergere, 3 other hospitals that are nearing capacity are the Lung Center of the Philippines, the East Avenue Medical Center, and the UERM Medical Center. Ano po bang ibig sabihin nito? Ang ibig sabihin nito, dumadami na naman ang kaso. Hindi po yan fake news. Sa inyo nang galing yung news na yan eh. Nasa pamahalaan. Let's not, just whimsically, irresponsibly use the label fake news. What we are trying to do as a society here and responsible citizens, both media, government, and civil society, is to tell people contrary to your expectation, because all of you are hoping that the president is going to declare MGCQ on July 15. We have problems. And if you are not careful, we are going to have serious, deadly problems. It is not fake news. So, panawagan lang po yan sa Malacanang. Huwag po kayong basta-basta magsasabing fake news yan. Kayo na mismo nagsabi, 63% critical capacity. We are supposed to be going to MGCQ. Now we're saying 63% of critical care capacity have been reached. So what's going on? Let's at least be aligned. This is not a reflection of government. This is not supposed to be political. This is not supposed to be propaganda. And I'm sorry if I'm mouthing here, but I'm sorry. This is defeating. That has always been my complaint with the communication directions of Malacanang and the IATF. Maglalabas kayo ng maayos, tas kayo na mismo kukontra sa ginagawa ninyo. Naglalabas yung DOH ng matinong impormasyon, tapos sasabihin ng isa, fake news. Sino ba peke? Kami ba o kayo? I'm sorry, I just have to call it for the way it is because it's irresponsible. In any case, the other thing I would like to comment, and baka sabihin nyo, schizophrenic na si Kuya Cito. Maybe Cito Beltran is losing it. But no, I just want to call attention to the second story that I actually read. And that's a story that says, Rodi, emotional, not ill. Now, I don't know if that's even good. to say that the president gets emotional, but in any case, here's my point as far as the president is concerned. The president is the nation's father, the father of the nation. Okay, whether you voted for him or not, he, by virtue, by symbolism, is the father of the nation. And as a Christian, and many of you who are also either born again or Catholic, you all know what God said in the Ten Commandments: honor thy father. Ang problema, karamihan sa inyo, alam nyo lang yung abbreviated version: honor thy father and thy mother. The long, complete version is: honor thy mother and thy father, that all may go well with you and that you may have long life. Part of honoring our father, whether it is our parents, blood parents, father and mother, or whether it is the symbolic father of the nation, is to pray for him, to pray for his well-being. We do that. I may not always agree with his decisions. I may not always agree with the actuations of his cabinet members. But at the end of the day, evening time at 7:30, my wife, my daughter, and I pray for the president and his cabinet and the leaders of this nation. I just need to put it out there. We don't need to put labels on the president na he was emotional. Next thing you know, iba na yung lalagay na konteksto dyan sa emotional. Let us simply pray for our national leaders. And as I pointed out yesterday, let's also pray for all government employees and officials. Kasi po, sila'y tinatamaan na isa't isa. Masahol pa sa tama ng kagat ng lamok sa MRT3 lang. The MRT3 closed simply because they don't have enough people to run the system because everybody has to be placed in quarantine. Well, hindi naman po everybody. I have to correct myself. So many of their staff had to be put on quarantine. And what do you expect? It's part of the risk because there is public physical contact there. In any case, let's go to our first monti ko nang sabihin first customer. Kausapin muna po natin ang President and CEO of the Asian Hospital and Medical Center, Mr. Andres Licaros Jr. Sir, good morning po.
Magandang umaga, Cito, and to all our viewers.
Mr. Licaros, pasensya na, no? This is a personal question because I went to school with a Licaros back in the 60s, 70s, St. Martin Technical Institute. Kayo po ba naggaling doon? Kayo ba yung ka-eskwela ko?
Hindi siguro. Baka yan yung mga Licaros na taga-wakwak.
Okay. Yung mga mayaman na Licaros.
I know your dad. I know Louis. He's a fraternity brother at the UP Vanguard.
Okay. So you're a Vanguard.
Yes.
Okay. Well, glad to have you here and pasensya na medyo na preempt yung entrada because I had to make that editorial which I don't normally do at the beginning of the program. But I think you can appreciate the perspective. There are now 11 hospitals that have reached capacity as far as COVID-19 cases are concerned. There are 3 more that's coming up. Ako naman, last week, gusto ko nang i-promote yung confidence in hospitals na lahat ng mga tao dapat magpatingin na kung etc. Ano po bang, what is the situation at the Asian Hospital? Oops. Okay. I think there's a bit of a delay there. Let's find out. We'll find out. I think we had a bit of a delay there for Mr. Licaros. But in any case, we want to find out because if you are a regular viewer of Agenda, you might and reader of my column in the Philippine Star titled Cito, I have actually written about it's safe to go to the hospitals. In fact, me, my wife, and our daughter went to Rizal Medical Center to have rapid tests, to have flu shots, etc., because they're the nearest. And I actually cooperate with them in promoting the hospital. Now, with the Asian hospital, we also want to find out, kasi nagiging issue po ito abroad, in the United States, and I think even in Europe, there is now a concern regarding what you call it, the non-consultation of patients. Dahil takot silang magka-COVID, hindi na muna sila nagpapatingin. And what's happening is now there have been problems for cancer patients, etc. Let's go back to Mr. Andres Licaros of the Asian Hospital.
Yes.
Okay, sir.
This is Andy. Yeah. To your question about these 11 hospitals that have declared that they are full capacity, we were there in February and March because this virus really, the first patients that were hit are the more resourced members of our community, the travelers, those who can afford to travel, because this
Correct.
came from outside the country. So in our first COVID patient came in January 23, very, very early. That's why Asian was able to cope up with it quite well. We're a very resilient organization because 20 years ago, the founders of Asian were audacious enough to have put up a different hospital that changed the landscape of healthcare in the country. Since the 70s, wala namang bagong hospital na tinatayo. But in 2002, Asian Hospital was opened right at the tail end of the 1997 financial crisis. But right now, Asian still has the capacity, and we're actually more confident in being able to cope with it because I believe we have seen the most unforgiving minutes this pandemic can bring to a healthcare provider like us. We have actually now reactivated the protocols that allowed us to save as many lives as we can at the height of the patients coming to Asian. And this was, as I mentioned, in February, March, because by mid-April to May, we've seen less and less of them. But we know the government hospitals are the ones being swamped with patients because it has reached the community. It's now a community-acquired disease. And we know that it's hitting the less resourced members of our society. And that's where I think the bigger problem really is.
Yeah, medyo nagkaroon ng delay factor. Ang unang tinamaan yung mga may pera, yung mga bumabiyahe, tsaka yung mga matatanda, and yung mga frontliners. So then there's now a lull, and then now there's a resurgence, but it's the people who are the urban poor who are getting hit. Now, matanong ko lang, I don't know if it's a hospital secret, I don't know if it's a sensitive topic, just say no comment, Cito, but alam mo, Sir Andy, ang sinasabi ng iba, ang basis kung gaano kagaling ang isang hospital, ay tanungin mo yung kanilang score. Sabi ko, anong score? Ilan yung buhay, ilan yung patay. It's a bit morbid, but one of your associate hospitals, I know, has zero mortality. Kamusta po ba dyan sa Asian Hospital? Given the fact that you had to learn, there was a steep learning curve at the beginning, what is the performance or the record of Asian Hospital as far as COVID is concerned?
Yes, and I'd like to put it in context because
Yeah.
we're really a quaternary hospital, meaning the most complex, the sickest patients are the ones that come to Asian. There are easily 50 other smaller hospitals around us here in the south. And so, because as far as mortality is concerned, in the early months of COVID, we see very high mortality rates because the patients coming to us are really the elderly. Average age was around 70, 71. And they have a lot of morbidities. They're not in the pink of health. And early on, it's the uncertainty that this disease brings. Because although it is really caused by SARS-CoV or the same virus, coronavirus as SARS-1 that hit us in 2003, this is quite different. It is not as lethal, but it spreads quickly. and if it hits the most vulnerable members of our community, then we're really in trouble. But we were able to cope up with it quite well because we were well resourced. We have a good team of infectious disease specialists, pulmonologists. Uh, we're one of the few hospitals with intensivists. These are highly trained doctors manning the critical care unit. Because what I saw was a patient would come with mild to moderate symptoms,
Yeah.
but quickly progress to being severe and then goes critical. And in the early days, most everyone got intubated, meaning to be able to breathe, they have to be given hooked to a ventilator, and they stayed in the hospital quite long. A regular average length of stay for a patient is less than 4 days, 3.6, 3.7 days. But with COVID, it's 13 days plus or minus 5, meaning it could go 8. We have one unique patient that stayed with us for 92 days. But we were able to discharge her at age 67. She was at
Wow.
the Yes, she was at the critical care unit, I think, for almost a month. She was weaned from the ventilator and she was able to go home. Uh, but we paid the heavy price. One of our ER doctors succumbed to COVID at age 40. And you know the kind of toll it gives to all of us
Yeah.
because everyone says, is it safe to go to Asian? And I always say the biggest proof is me. I, no, I don't need to come here. I'm not a doctor. I'm really an engineer. But I'm managing.
Okay.
Yes. But I have to be here because I want to show everyone, especially our nurses, our doctors, that this is a sworn duty of ours.
Okay.
When I made the appeal to our community, I said I never sign up for the easy. But I also never in my wildest dreams expected that I'll live through a pandemic like this. And I go home regularly and I put my own family at risk because I always go to the hospital. But if you observe the very basic protocols of wearing a mask when you are in a public place, when you're outside your home, washing your hands, refraining from touching your face, and keeping a tight circle. That's how we're doing it now, meaning I only have 2 circles, my own family at home and 4 or 5 of my direct reports that I regularly meet, not even face-to-face, but most often
Electronically.
via e-meetings. But
Yeah.
when necessary, I only meet with these 5 people so that I'm able to contain the exposure because that's how you get COVID, when you get exposed to a positive patient long enough and with no protection at all.
Well, Sir Andy, as they say, if you want the system to work well, get an engineer. If you want patients to get well, get a doctor. So I guess Asian Hospital has the best of both worlds. Now, my question is, what are you observing? Kasi ako po, I'm calling on many people that if they need to see their cardiologist, their pediatrician, their urologist, go and see. Kasi like me, I had multiple stents through the years, and I was long overdue because of COVID. Finally, I had my blood test, I had a lab done, and sabi nung cardio ko, sit, padala mo na lang via Viber. If you are doing exercise and physically working anyway, my doctor is Dr. Marlo Mendoza. He said, I looked at your numbers and your numbers are great. So just stay on your medications. Now, yung iba, they're holding back. And I just saw a report last night in the US and in EU where cancer cases have gone unattended, complicated, etc. What is the situation at the Asian hospital?
I'm proud to say, and this I think is a proof of the level of awareness and consciousness of the Filipino as a patient. Our Asian Cancer Institute is one because we never closed any unit of the hospital even during the height of our acceptance of COVID patients. It's just that patients refuse to come, and also a good number of doctors, especially the senior ones, are being prudent. So both patient and doctors are not able to engage each other. But the cancer our Asian Cancer Institute is the one holding forth, meaning our chemotherapy infusion unit is always full. We have to work on extended hours. Our brachytherapy, our tomotherapy, which is radiation therapy, because cancer is something that you cannot delay. Actually, the campaign for cancer is early detection through screening, because your best chance of good outcomes is if you handle it early. And every cancer patient is conscious of that. And God has been kinder to cancer patients also. We've seen very, very few, if at all, a cancer patient acquiring COVID, despite them constantly coming to the hospital and leaving their homes.
Okay, so as far as cancer patients are concerned, don't delay. Early detection is the best. Now, what other ailments or medical concerns should people be aware of that needs, constant, regular? Kasi yung nauuna yung takot, hindi nila naiintindihan that by delaying, they're creating another set of problems.
Yes. And as I said earlier, it's really the pandemic of fear that I think is going to stay there for years. So
Yeah.
we also saw that our hemodialysis unit is full to the brim. We're working virtually 16, 18 hours a day because of the number of patients, because these are services that could not be delayed. For a while in April, we were catching babies at the emergency room, because I guess these are mothers ready to give birth, but
Yeah.
the smaller hospitals are less resourced and they cannot attend to them. They all, from the south, they come here at Asian. I think there are easily around 20 babies. And that didn't happen before, because, and that is, I think, because most obstetricians also are inaccessible. But when you talk of what that cannot be delayed, I guess it's the continuing care for chronic patients, especially the elderly.
So
They are care,
dialysis,
yes, rehabilitation, and those
yun.
going to our cardiovascular institute. But they should find comfort, because I think that's how we're able to cope up with this. We're one of the early takers of the digital platform.
Well, good thing you mentioned that, Sir Andy, because I can attest to that. A friend of mine, siguro takot sa hospital, takot sa COVID, napansin na niya na gumigewang na yung lakad niya, napansin niyang may headache na siya. Hindi nagpatingin-tingin. O finally, nung hindi na niya maayos, pumunta sa Asian Hospital. Actually, by coincidence, he went to your hospital
Oh,
and they said, "You have a stroke." So, ayun, nauna yung takot. Ayun. Anyway, before we run out of time, may I ask, what is this Asian Hospital Tagged Safe program? Medyo nabanggit lang sa akin ng staff ko.
okay.
Sabi ko, ano yan?
Well, it's a campaign that we have launched months ago,
Mm.
conscious of the fact that patients needing continuing care have hesitated in engaging us. Although we have an e-consult platform, still a good number of them, especially the elderly, needs assistance to be able to navigate that platform. So the Asian Tag Safe campaign is really both internal and external. It's primarily initially for our doctors and our employees. Every day, before any Asian hospital employee goes to work, we have an app where you have to send it to our human resource unit to say that you don't have symptoms and you have not gone to anywhere. It's a checklist to make sure that all employees coming back are in the pink of health. And you are safe, because we always say we have to protect ourselves to be able to protect the others. That was the bigger difficulty we faced when healthcare workers are getting infected. When you hear
Yeah.
news of doctors dying, of course it demoralizes, and you find difficulty seeing that the patients never seem to improve, and you see a lot of patients dying from the critical care unit. I think we've always talked of the footprint this pandemic will leave us. When we talk of waves, the first wave is the wave of patients that we're scared about COVID, but it waned. Now we receive the patients whose urgent needs to be attended. These are the pregnant women, the cancer patients, and then the third wave is the elderly, the chronically ill that cannot further delay the engagement. We're seeing them now slowly coming back to the hospital. And the last wave, I think, is the toll this will take on the mental health of everybody, because we cannot deny as human beings that constantly being in fear unless you have the character to rise above yourself. And I believe it can only happen if we lean on each other. And that's why I cannot turn my back on this kind of a job. I'm 61 and I'm supposed to be staying home. And I have an 88-year-old mom at the other house beside my home. And if I want to only take care of me and my family, I probably would have chosen to leave this kind of a job. Pero sabi nga sa UP kundi ako, sino? Kundi ngayon, kailan? You just need to act on it with dispatch. And I think it's the agility and the discipline we have built through the years at Asian. Because Metro Pacific has been here since December 2011. We're the third operator of Asian. And we're proud to say, you talked earlier about the score of a hospital.
Yeah.
From the get-go, my vision for the hospital is to be a value-based care provider. And we define it in terms of better outcomes, if not the best outcomes at the lowest cost of care. Because I think that's how it should be seen by everyone. Because the biggest barrier to access to healthcare is really not the fear of the virus. It's the fear of the cost. Because COVID particularly is very expensive because of all the protection you need to put in place, all the screening tests, now the PCR test you need to ask from everyone.
But Sir Andy, I really thank you for your inputs this morning, and I just want to put a cap on everything you said. It's interesting because I was listening to a financial mentor on radio, and at one point he was asked, paano ho ito, wala po kaming pera pang kapital? And he made the point. Sabi niya, lagi ninyong sinasabing wala tayong pera for business, for capital, pero pag may kamag-anak tayong nagkasakit o tayo nagkasakit, gagawa at gagawa tayo ng paraan. And I think the money is a later problem. What's important is the health and our lives. So I know that at Asian Hospital, you guys save lives, you have a good scorecard, and we thank you for your time this morning, Sir Andy.
The pleasure was all ours. Maraming salamat, Cito.
Okay, that's engineer, not doctor, Andy Licaros. Please stay safe, stay strong, stay healthy, and God bless.
God bless you too. Good morning.
Good morning. Okay, that's Engineer Andy Licaros. Tingnan nyo nga naman yan. Pwede naman siyang doon sa bahay mag-opisina. Hindi naman pala siya doktor. Hindi naman siya matatanong tungkol sa mga cases sa hospital. Pero he's there. He's on the front line. He goes to the hospital every day because he needs to show his team and you, the public, that it's safe to go to their hospital. And that's what I'm asking all of you, yung mga katropa ko na mga double citizen, senior na, Pilipino pa, medyo wag na po kayong matakot, magpatingin kayo kung kailangan kayong kumonsulta. We need to stay safe. We need to stay healthy. Okay, let's check. We'll go for a quick break. And when we return, we will then ask Undersecretary of the Department of Education, Diosdado San Antonio, DAD San Antonio, ano at papano here on Agenda. Okay, you're here on Agenda and you are watching us on Signal TV, channels 8 and 250, and the One News Facebook platform. Okay, let's go now to Undersecretary Diosdado San Antonio of the Department of Education para malaman naman natin yun. Okay, Usec, dance ba or dads?
That's
Usec Dads, good morning to you. Kamusta na po kayo?
okay naman po. Good morning din po, Sir Cito.
Wag mo na akong pinopo, sir. Pare-pareho lang tayong naglilingkod sa bayan. In any case, Usec Dads, I read that you are the Undersecretary for Curriculum Instruction at the Department of Education. Tama po ba yun?
Yes.
Okay, now, given that you are the USEC for curriculum, siguro ang tatanong kong una, ano na ba ang magiging curriculum? What sort of a curriculum will we have for 2020-2021 in the context of COVID-19 and the pandemic?
When COVID-19 pandemic happened po, we were in the midst of reviewing the curriculum, and we had initial findings that the existing curriculum is congested, although in terms of the standards, it's comparable with the standards around the world. There was a support from UP, an office that is based in UP that guided us in the review of the curriculum. And then we said, if we are going to open school year 2020-2021, we need to come up with a streamlined curriculum. So immediately, our team evaluated the existing curriculum, and we have decided to reduce the competencies. We have identified the most essential learning competencies out of our list of like more than almost 15,000 to less than 6,000, a 60% reduction in terms of the learning competencies. But we made sure that when we identified the most essential learning competencies, we considered the criterion endurance. We made sure that the learning competencies identified as very important, essential, foundational, so that the kids will continue to be able to learn after completing this school year. For the challenges in their next grades, we decided to retain them. So what we did was some competencies were merged, some competencies were retained as stated in our existing curriculum guide, and some competencies had to be we are not saying that many of these things removed are not important. We're just saying that for school year 2020-2021, we had to focus on the most essential ones, the foundational competencies. And also, we are allowing the schools to even supplement or enhance what we have identified. So this is not like absolute that these are the only things that they will offer. But
okay,
this,
so liwanagin lang natin, Dads, ano? So that kasi hindi lahat medyo may background sa education. So liwanagin na. When you say, you said 15,000 ba yun? Kamo? 15,000 competencies?
about that number.
Okay,
Basta
about 15. Okay, yung 15,000 na yun, that is from kinder to grade
senior high.
12. Ha? Grade 12,
Yes,
di ba? Okay, so para, kasi baka sabihin, ano yan, nasisiraan na ba kayo ng ulo? Mga bata lang yan, di ba? So, from kinder to grade 12, okay, you have approximately 15,000 competencies. Ngayon, ano po ba yung competency sa Tagalog or sa ordinaryong lingwahe? What do you mean by competencies?
Kakayahan po, kaalaman, kasanayan,
Okay.
Kamatayang, kaalaman, kakayahan, at kasanayan.
Okay, so it would be good manners, right conduct, it would be reading and writing, o kaya arithmetic. Wala nang arithmetic, ano? Mathematics na. Napapaghalata edad ko no. Inabutan ko pa. Okay, inabutan ko pa arithmetic. So, yung competencies are the know-hows or the knowledge o yung kaalaman. Okay, so binaba ninyo to 60% kasi naman it only makes sense because given the restricted modules in terms of time, technology, yung attention span din ng mga bata at saka being stay at home, medyo kailangan talagang bawasan at kung ano lang yung pinakamahalaga pangsamantala. Correct po ba?
Yes po. So, ang natira po ay 40%. 60% yung nabawas.
Okay, 40%. Di mas maganda, maglalong mas kokonti na lang yung poproblemahin ng mga bata. Now, what are these competencies?
These are in
Ano yung
all
mga napili
learning
nyo?
areas.
Ano yung mga pinili nyo, priority nyo? I mean, if we are going to cluster them, what competencies did you select or prioritize?
Yung pong most enduring, kailangan nila so they could be ready for the next grade and life. Mga
Okay.
halimbawa po yung problem solving, yung communication skills, reading comprehension, at iba pa. Nandiyan po yan sa aming learning continuity plan na ka-append yung list of the most essential learning competencies. Available
Okay.
po siya online.
Okay. Ano naman na magiging epekto nito? Kasi baka naman mamaya meron na namang magagaling dyan, magpa-survey o magpa-testing na naman. Tapos sasabihin, yung lalo na yung mga tiga-abroad, and then they'll start saying, oh, the Filipinos reading comprehension is really bad or they gave up on the arts, etc. Wala naman tayong pangamba na magkakaroon ito ng serious sacrifice on the students.
Wala pong inalis na learning area. So the learning areas are still there. Ang
Okay.
nabawas po yung i-deliver for the different learning areas. And hindi rin po pinalitan yung ating learning standards, performance standards. Ang pinalitan po yun na nga po ang in-upgrade or streamline natin yung competencies itself, yung mga kasanayan, kaalaman at mga pagkakaalam na dapat nandyan sa bata para maging handa siya sa future at maging handa siya sa susunod na grade.
Okay, pasensya ka na, Usec Dads, para akong batang nagtatanong sa principal eh. Kasi syempre, these are the questions that parents will be asking and other people will be wondering. We reduce the competencies from down to 40%. What will be, there's always a compromise. What are the risks? Now, okay, given that you have reduced the volume of work and learning, and you said that we did not sacrifice in terms of knowledge required, okay, paano naman po sa teaching? Kasi sinagot mo na yung ano ang ituturo, ngayon, paano ituturo?
Ngayon po, because of the presidential pronouncement that DepEd will of course implement na wala pong face-to-face learning sa mga paaralan, ang inihahain po natin ay distance learning delivery modalities na iba-iba
Okay.
po ang ano. Yung pong traditional na naririnig natin at marami pa ang minsan may mga misconceptions pag sinabing distance learning, online lang daw yan. Isang uri lang po ang online distance learning sa mga forms of distance learning delivery modalities. Ang isa po ay yung pong online is for learners who have access to the internet at may gadget sa bahay. Yun naman po mga learners na walang internet pero may gadget, may laptop, may PC sa bahay, pwede rin po silang mag-modular offline digital learning. So papadala po sa kanila through flash drives or other means, yung pong mga learning resources na pwede nilang buksan sa kanilang mga tahanan, sa kanilang mga gadget. Yung pong pangatlong uri, actually, yan, modular printed po. Yun pong alam na alam ng generation po yata natin na dati pag nag-distance education tayo, we receive a self-learning module. And that is actually being finalized now. We're almost ready with all the modules for at least the first month kasi po rolling naman yung ginagawa namin. So after the first month, the next month will also be prepared. Ang isang option pa po ay ang pinakauna po talagang kailangan matapos namin yung self-learning modules because this will be converted into different formats ng learning resources. Yung digital format na gagamitin sa distance
Yeah.
learning, saka sa yung offline digital format. Tapos po, gagamitin din po ang SLMs, i-convert din sila into TV and radio scripts. We are also using the educational TV and radio-based instruction as an option. At ang isa pa po ay gagamitin pa rin po ng DepEd yung mga textbooks. Kasalukuyan din po minamap kasi ni-reduce natin yung learning competency. So nililista po natin yung mga topics sa textbook na nakaangkop na sa competencies na gagamitin. At ang mga gagawin po ng mga paaralan, ito po, these are centralized efforts but the preparation of the self-learning modules have been done by the regions and hinati-hati po sila. Hindi po ito ginawa ngayon lang nagka-COVID. This was actually an ongoing effort because we knew, dati po kasi we wanted to prepare self-learning modules for emergencies that have been appearing more frequently. Katulad po yung test sa Taal Volcano, eruption, kailangan namin gamitin yung mga self-learning modules na to. So, nung nag-COVID po, sabi namin sa mga in-assign nating region, hinati-hati po ito, bayanihan ito sa DepEd, bilis-bilisan nyo because we will use it for the coming school year. Nabuuhin, hindi na lang po yung a few topics, etc. So,
okay, makasingit lang ng saglit, Usec, ano? Ito po bang ating ginawang curriculum na ito, is this a temporary curriculum or is this something, because you yourself have said it, there have been some, all these disasters have become unwelcome, but they have become very frequent. Ngayon, we are now at the point in our fight against COVID-19 na tumataas na naman ang mga kaso, not just in the Philippines, globally, tumataas na naman ang mga kaso. So, the reality is that this situation may force us to distance learn or distance educate the children. Is this expandable or is this already a foundational curriculum that can simply be carried on long term?
Ang plano po namin is we will continue to get feedback kung ano yung impact ng implementation nito. And ang gagawin naman po natin ay i-enhance siya for future use kung applicable. Okay. But actually, naging responsive din po ito sa initial finding. Hindi ko alam po nasabi ko kanina, nasa curriculum review ay ang finding po ay crowded daw at congested ang ating curriculum. Kaya kailangang magkaroon ng streamlining. So, in a way na napabilis po yung mga assignment ko kay Secretary Liling because when she recruited me to join the EXICOM after serving the field for more than 30 years, ay sabi niya, curriculum review is your number one job. That was last year. So, talaga pong ongoing yung
kanya rin ako believe kay Secretary Briones. I mean, superwoman, pero more, even at her age, and that's a compliment, actually, at her age, that she recognizes the need for change, the need for efficiency, and material that can be learned. Kasi alam nyo, masyado namang ginawang tambakan ng ideya yung DepEd. Parang meron lang magaling na government official o politician makaisip, oy, okay to, ilagay nyo ito sa curriculum. Ano ba yung ating mga anak? Computer na storage ang kanilang mga utak. So, ikaw ngayon yung may sakit ng ulo, paano alisin yon? Pero hindi ka ba inaaway, dads, ng mga magagaling diyan? Oy, dapat dual language. Oy, dapat ganito, ganyan.
Ang katotohanan po niyan, before the pandemic came, yung issue on multilingual mother tongue-based education, yung MTB-MLE, na siyempre po, iba-iba yung mga pananaw ng ibang sector. We were actually ready na to stage a parang forum for everybody who wants to tell us about the language policy. At na hindi lang po natuloy dahil nga bawal nang mag-gather ng it was set on the 25th of March na postpone, and nag-iisip kami ngayon kung pwede siya virtual, pero mas exciting po yata magkita-kita silang magkakaiba yung mga paniniwala tungkol sa language policy in a face-to-face meeting. The
Alam mo
other
na,
thing, yun pong suportahan yung sinabi nyo, si Secretary Liling po has
oh,
created a futures thinking unit in the Department of Education. That's how progressive the Secretary is.
yeah.
Talaga po, and nobody can even outperform her in terms of energy. Kahit 10 o'clock na yung meeting namin, buhay na buhay siya. Marami sa amin, inaantok-antok na.
Mm. Okay, so given that scenario, saan na tayo ngayon pupunta? Kasi nadinig ko yung isang interview ng isang undersecretary ng DepEd, si Usec Pascua ba yun, na nagsabing aabutin ng 26 billion pesos para mabigyan ng mga computer o laptop lahat ng mga teacher na wala. And I don't know, while listening to the interview and other interviews of DepEd and politicians, etc., everybody keeps talking about cost, cost, cost. Pero pambili ng mga eroplano, pambili na panggawa ng basketball court, laging meron. Pero investments in education, laging may problema. What is the direction of the DepEd? Kasi I'm sure there are a lot of people who will support the DepEd in terms of investing in our future. Because the quality of education determines the quality of businessmen, civilians, and employees, just like Singapore.
Ang direction po talaga natin ay, of course, we have identified the ideal scenario kung if we have unlimited funds, this is how we want the learning continuity plan to proceed. But realistic din po tayo, so we are armed with realistic goals and targets na we will really make sure that the strategies we are going to implement would be the most cost beneficial. So kahit po yung mga learning delivery, kasi sa akin yun nakaatang, that's my responsibility, we are already telling the team na kahit ito pong self-learning modules which will cost also much pag ni-reproduce mo, kasi printing, palagay ko po mga kalahati ng mga mag-aaral would go for the self-learning modules. We are also considering the idea of allowing multiple learners to use one module. Instead na isa one-to-one, ay baka on rotation basis, kasi modular naman yung teaching, yung matututunan nila for 1 month na 4 weeks dapat. So pwedeng aralin na ng isang bata at yung isang bata naman ay iba ng subject ang inaaral muna, and within the month they all learn the same concept. So mga ganun pong strategy. When we have scarcity of resources, we have to be very creative in coming up with offer solutions.
Yeah, my question, Yusek, is this, no? Kasi trabaho ninyo, gawin yung curriculum, trabaho ninyo to conceptualize and implement. I don't know if the word implement is correct. You know, it's your responsibility to come up with the materials. But beyond the norm of face-to-face education, I don't think it is no longer within the capacities and capabilities of the DepEd to launch satellite, TV, distance learning in a massive scale. Who is helping the DepEd? Kasi yung pagsiset up ng TV, ng radyo, ng online, meron na bang task force? Well, I think you need more than a task force here. Meron na bang commission in charge for setting up the logistical requirements of this blended education?
Kami sa DepEd, may sariling partnerships office which has been harnessing the support of all stakeholders. So nandyan pa rin siya, at may mga initiatives po ang mga partners natin para mag-raise ng funds. Ang iba concrete yung offers, magdo-donate ng kung ano-ano. At may isang USEC po in charge of this, yung all partnerships in DepEd. Another one po, yung sa TV and radio, may separate TWG which I co-chair with USEC Alain, na ang ginagawa naman po is to implement the agreements now between Secretary Liling and Secretary Martin Andanar on how we can harness the government facilities. Although we understand limited ang reach ng mga government facilities, mayroon din pong mga offers. Actually, there's a committee on the learning resources and platforms committee that reviews all offers from partners and providers of different learning delivery platforms. Na siya pong nagdidetermina kung alin yung pipiliin at i-strategize kung saan sila i-deploy, anong grade, anong learning area. So, mayroon naman pong mga ganitong sistema.
Pero, Usec, does it follow then, if we are only at this stage, does it follow then that the August 24 opening of classes is not going to be like the usual na everybody goes to school, quote unquote? Kasi kung hindi pa nasi-set up yung mga learning module para dun sa TV, para sa radyo, ipiprint pa lang ninyo yung modules na ipapadala, ita-transfer yon sa flash drives, it's already July 7. And I'm not trying to put down the DepEd. I just want to give people a reference point kasi we need to manage expectations, especially public expectation. Baka tayo, sabi, hindi, 24. Pagdating sa 24, ay teka, hindi kaya. Kakayanin ba?
May sarili kaming timelines. So sa aming timeline, hindi pa naman kami behind para ang ito ay maging available sa 24 of August. Ang isang lang kasi, overwhelming if you talk about more than 20 million learners and a very big system. But people do not understand that we have more than 40,000 schools. Most of the principals, and we have 200-something superintendents, 17 regional directors. Most of them are highly competent. And mga veterano po sa mga ganitong challenges.
No. We're not talking about competency of the DepEd. We're talking beyond the DepEd, meaning sa internet, sa radyo, sa telebisyon. Kasi may mga modules yan, may mga kailangan i-broadcast yan, may mga script na kailangan ilabas. Ready na ba yun?
Sabi ko nga po kanina, according to our schedules, on time pa naman lahat.
On time pa, okay.
It will really be very busy between, even as we talk now, ang dami pong sabay-sabay na kailangan gawin. But ang gusto ko pong bigyang diin ay hindi lang kasi isa ang gagawa. Tutulungan kami ng 40,000 principals. Ang reproduction po is delegated. So hindi centralized. So yung mga issues about logistics, hindi na sakit ulo for the first quarter. At least for the first quarter, nagka-agree na po kami na decentralize yung reproduction at ang development ng mga kailangan ay yun na nga po pinagtutulungan ng lahat ng sector ng DepEd. And I think, sabi ko nga po, according to our schedule,
on time pa.
Can we start the school year tomorrow? Hindi pa.
No way. Okay, no way. Okay, pero tingnan natin August 24 and we do hope na kahit papaano maumpisahan and as they say in one form or another, as long as it starts, as long as the ship sails, okay na yon. Okay, we'll go for thank you very much Usec Dance and maraming salamat sa mga inputs mo and I sincerely wish you good health and all the best because yung curriculum na yan I'm sure pag lumabas na yan, naku po, marami na namang mangungulit sa'yo regarding sa content ng curriculum. Thank you very much, Usec.
Thank you rin po. Appreciated po masyado yung prayers nyo. Kanina narinig ko kayo, you prayed for everyone. So we really appreciate. We need prayers kasi ang feeling ko po talaga, this is something that with God's support, we can all do together as a nation. So maraming salamat po sa suporta. Mabuhay po kayo.
Okay, thank you. Usec Diosdado, Dad, San Antonio. Stay strong, stay safe, stay healthy, and God bless you.
God bless you too.
Okay, that's Usec Dads, and we will now go to a quick break. And when we return, we hope to speak next with Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas Governor Ben Diokno para magpapaturo. Hindi po ako magdudunong-dunungan kasi pagdating sa kwartang, alam ko lang gawin, kitahin at gastusin. In any case, we'll go for a quick break. Please stick around. Okay, you're back here on Agenda. I'm Cito Beltran, and you are watching us via Signal TV channels 8 and 250. And we have replays in midday and early evening on Signal. And also, you can watch us on Facebook via the One News PH platform. Now, we will go. I have to confess that. Medyo may nervous ako sa susunod nating bisita kasi parang ring itong striktong maestro, pero more than that, he's actually now managing the wealth of the nation. Let's go to our final guest for today, the Central Bank Governor and previously Secretary of the Department of Budget and Management, Governor Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas, Ben Diokno. Sir, good morning, sir.
Good morning, Cito, at good morning din sa mga nakikinig sa atin.
Okay, I prepared for this, and my statement is better to confess ignorance than to feign intelligence. Pagdating po sa BSP, Governor, wala ako talagang kaalam-alam dyan. So please bear with me if I ask silly questions. And if you wish to interject, go right ahead. Matagal naman tayo magkakilala na. Kanya namin kayo kinukonta kasi maraming tao nagtatanong-tanong. They're asking, okay, totoo ba yun na ang lakas daw ng peso to the dollar? Paano naging malakas ang peso to the dollar? Lahat naman tayo may COVID-19, etc. And anong impact niyan? And also, of course, yung mga remittances, etc. What is our state of affairs, Governor?
Well, alam mo, unang-una, tinamaan tayo. Tinamaan naman buong mundo nitong COVID-19 pandemic, no? Mm-hmm. Pero tayo, nag-umpisa tayo sa position of strength. Kasi kung ikukumpara mo, for example, itong crisis natin ngayon, doon sa mga nakaraang crisis, alam mo, for example, nung Asian financial crisis, taghirap talaga noon. Wala tayong, yung dollar, yung peso natin nagde-depreciate, no?
Mhm.
Yung interest rate pataas. Naubusan tayo ng tinatawag natin gross international reserves, yung pambayad natin ng utang. Tsaka ang sama na ekonomiya natin. Ngayon naman, when COVID, the pandemic hit us, maganda ekonomiya natin. We were growing for the last 22 years, Cito, no? And
Yes.
then yung interest rate na natin, alam mo, napababa na namin eh. Nung pumasok ako dito last year, ang interest rate natin was 4.75%. Yun yung policy rate, no? Yun ang nagiging basehan ng pagpapautang ng mga bangko. 4.75% interest rate. Ngayon, nasa 2.25 na lang. I have not seen this kind of interest rate before. Pababa. Tapos yung piso, hindi nga natin, nagtataka nga ako bakit napakalakas ng piso. That's one of the strongest currency in this part of the world. Mas mataas pa tayo, mas malakas pa tayo kaysa sa, for example, yung sa yen, Japanese yen, at saka yung Taiwanese dollar. No? So, una-una, dahil nga maganda naman na ekonomiya natin bago tayo tinamaan itong COVID pandemic. So, yun talaga estado natin. So, ang inaasahan natin, of course, pihina ang ekonomiya natin this year. Siguro, ang forecast namin around 2 to 3.4%. Babagsak yun. No? Pero next year naman, ay malakas naman yung pagbangon natin. Kung ma-implement natin properly lahat na itong mga stimulus, fiscal and monetary stimulus, naasahan natin mga next year around 7 to 8%. In fact, meron pang nagsasabi, I think S&P nagsabi recently na 9.4% ang lalago natin next year.
Okay, that's all good news. Ang tanong naman, Governor, paano mangyayari lahat yan? Kasi pag nag-usap yung Congress at saka yung Department of Finance, ang pinag-uusapan lagi utang. Maraming tao ngayon ang tinatanong, puro tayo utang, saan napupunta yung pera? Now, siguro ang unang tanong ko sa iyo, hindi ba maiiwasan yung pag-utang? And kung mangungutang tayo ng mangungutang, ano naman po ang pangamba ninyo? What are you worried about with all of this massive borrowing, loans, etc.?
Well, unang-una, pag kami ganitong crisis, siyempre ang una diyang iniisip ng Bangko Sentral, anywhere in the world, ay yung tinatawag na liquidity. Kasi unang-una, dahil because of the uncertainty, maraming nagwi-withdraw ng pera. No? Tapos marami naman mga business na siyempre hindi nakakabayad ng kanilang inutang sa bangko. So talagang mawawala ng liquidity. So interest talaga natin you infuse liquidity into the system. Kaya yun ang ginawa namin. Nag-cut kami kagad ng tinatawag na reserve requirement, yung sa bangko, 200 basis points, meaning 2%, no? So for every percent na kakat namin, nag-infuse kami sa sistema ng mga 90 to 100 billion pesos. So ngayon naman, nasasabi natin dahil nga mabilis yung action namin, alam mo, bago pa lang tayo nag-lockdown, talagang sige-sige na kami dito sa Bangko Sentral. No? So hindi natin masasabi na walang liquidity sa sistema. Meron. In fact, napaka-liquid ng sistema natin ngayon. At saka hindi nagpanic ang ating ekonomiya, yung mga savers, may nag-withdraw sila immediately during the lockdown, pero ngayon estado na sila, business hindi naman nagpanic, etc. So yun ang unang natin ginawa, we introduced liquidity. Tapos nagkaroon yung Bayanihan Act, di ba? Sinabi doon na kung ikaw may utang, dapat mabayaran during the lockdown, i-move natin yon. Walang additional interest because na-delay yung payment. So pag naging yung 30 days muna, naging 60 days, so minove lang natin. So may babayaran kang utang dapat noong Marso, so dapat Abril, babayaran mo na, hindi mo na babayaran, walang interest. No interest on interest and no penalties. No? Ano mga klaseng mga utang yan? Yung salary loans, no? Yung kumbaga meron kang utang sa car loan mo, card payments, housing loans, lahat na post-dated checks na dapat in honor for that period, minove natin lahat yun. So, ang totality niya, if I remember right, mga 60 days na na-move. Walang
Ano po?
interest yun.
Okay,
Ngayon,
ano po?
kung
Sorry, Gob, no? Ano po ang kaparusahan sa mga kumpanya na nagpapatong pa ng interest doon sa mga hindi nabayaran? Kasi may order na nga kayo, pero may mga pasaway din na ginagawa pa rin eh.
Uy, pwede mong i-report yun sa IATF. Alam mo, penal, ano yun? Violation yun. Ilalabag mo yung batas na yun, yung Bayanihan Act. Pwede kang makusahan doon. Ngayon, kung tutuloy ko lang yung superview sa BSP. So, inusad natin yan ng mga 60 days. Ngayon, kung hindi ka medyo mabigat pa rin sa'yo dahil nawalan ka ng trabaho, kausapin mo lang yung bangko. Kasi nga, we provided a lot of relief sa bangko. So, sila naman, makikinig sila sa kung gusto nila yung servisyo mo, siyempre makikinig naman sila sa'yo. And they will review your loan, ganun. Pagbibigyan ka nila, I'm sure.
Okay, now...
kung hindi pa rin yan sapat, i-report mo sa BSP at kami naman ay may sistema rito. And ang ano lang namin, we're the arbiter, na kami nasa gitna. We talk to the supervised institutions, ang BSP. So we'll find a suitable agreement.
Pasensya ka na, Governor, no? Kung nagtatanong ako ng parang consumer question, kasi you're one of the few people in government that I totally trust, no? And compliments to you. Nung nasa DBM ka, ikaw yung bantay. You tightened the reins of funds. You disallowed lahat yung mga kalokohan. You got into trouble with legislators because you were not going to let them access money para maggamit nila sa kanilang kampanya. So you did a great job as DBM Secretary. Now you're in the BSP. Ang tanong ko, ang haba ng pasakali ko, no? Pero ang tanong ko kasi, under the given situation, gagastos ba kami o magtitipid kami? Dapat bang mangutang para makapagnegosyo o medyo magtimpi na muna for another 60 to 90 days?
Alam mo, nabanggit mo nun, dati kong posisyon yun sa DBM, ang tawag sa akin doon, Dr. No. Marami akong hindi pinagbigyan dahil nga hindi naman pera ng bayan yung nahawakan natin. So maingat tayo. Pero in this case, no, nasa crisis tayo. The wrong thing to do ay magtipid. Alam mo kasi, bagsak na nga ekonomiya, magtitipid ka pa, walang pupuntahan yung ekonomiya. No? Kaya namin nga binaba yung interest rate. We are encouraging people na, for example, if you're a consumer, meron kang project, home project, gusto mo maglagay ng additional room dahil nga sa kailangan may separation o yun lang, leaking roof, no? Kasi tag-ulan na, gagawin mo naman din yun. Punta ka sa bangko, mangutang ka o gastusin mo yung, kung meron ka nakasave dyan, gastusin mo siya. Kasi ang interest rate nga natin ngayon, 2.25. Noong nag-umpisa ako dito sa BSP, 4.75 yun. So we are encouraging consumers to buy the essential things, no? Kung may pera kang extra money, because mahirap mag-travel ngayon, kung walang public transport, pwede ka nang bumili ng mga maliliit na kotse, di ba? Or second-hand car. Gastusin mo yan. Kung ikaw naman ay investor, kung meron ka naisip na business na magsusurvive under the new normal, punta ka sa bangko, manghiram ka. Alam mo, ang daming pera talaga. So much liquidity.
Hindi ba sila baka hindi sila matunawan sa dami ng pera nila, Governor, no? Kasi I always wonder about that. What happens to banks when they have so much money but businessmen don't want to borrow money? There are no businesses that you can invest those money entrusted to you. Kasi ang nabasa ko, pinarada nila yung pera sa BSP. Marami lang. Ayun, paki-explain nga yun.
Cito, Ayun na nga, binabalik lang nila sa amin, dinideposito nila sa amin. In fact, 1 trillion at one time na binabalik lang sa amin eh. Ayaw namin yun. Sabi namin sa kanila, ipahiram nyo yan sa small businesses, sa mga taong gusto nangangailangan, pahiram ninyo yan. Kaya nga binababa namin ng binababa yung interest rate. So it's going to be costly for them also kung ibabalik lang nila sa amin kasi ang babayaran na namin sila ngayon instead na dati mga nasa 2.5 or 3%. Ngayon na 1.75 na lang ang ibibigay namin sa kanila, babayad namin sa kanila. So we are really encouraging people to spend their money for essential goods and for consumer investment also. Yung mga entrepreneurs natin na nangangailangan ay manghiram sila sa bangko para magkaroon ng activity sa ekonomiya.
Nung bago ako sa paghahanap buhay, ang lagi kong sinasabi noon, I was working for an electronics company. I was saying, if you really want to move your products, kailangan mag-introduce tayo ng installment plan, mahaba. And then I got into motoring, sinasabi ko yun. And apparently, medyo nauna ako sa panahon, hindi pa uso yun sa mga bangko. But later on, the bank started adopting that system. I'm not taking credit for it, but they discovered that on their own na dapat pala magpautang tayo or magbenta tayo ng products on extended loan. Ngayon, ang dami na nga mga hardware, appliance, zero interest. Now, doon po sa mga pautang sa businesses, do you see the emergence of long-term loans, meaning uutang ako hindi yung payable in 2 months but payable in 20 years na lang kasi wala namang paglalagyan ng pera? And what safety nets does the Bangko Sentral have para naman doon sa mga magpapautang? Kasi siyempre, yung mga bangko, ipapautang kami pero malaki ang possibility, 15 to 20% yata na magkakaroon ng bad loans or default kasi ang sama ng ekonomiya.
Marami na ngayon mga ganon. Marami kaming mga regulasyon na pinag-iingat natin yung mga bangko, no. So ngayon hindi na it's not uncommon na nakakita ka ng 5 years to pay or kaya pwede nga ngayon because of the relief na binibigay namin sa mga bangko. Pwede sila pautang siguro mga 7 years to pay. Mas maluwag, hindi at mas mababa ang interest. So yun naman ang ginagawa namin as Bangko Sentral. Alam mo yung sa total na ginawa namin additional relief, binaba namin ang interest rate, binaba namin yung reserve requirement. Sinusuma namin on the part of the Bangko Sentral alone, we have actually released the equivalent of 1.3 trillion pesos or about 7% GDP. 7% GDP. Yan ang tulong natin sa ekonomiya natin para makabangon. Ganong kalaki ang ginawa ng Bangko Sentral.
Paano naman yung mga foreign currency mo, Governor? Kasi ang balita ko, you now have any point in time, tama ba yung basa ko o mali-mali na naman ako, na yung dollar reserves, foreign currency reserves natin ay sobrang puno na raw. Kumbaga, puno yung takilya?
Sa kasalukuyan ay 93.3 billion US dollars. Ganun yun. Equivalent yan sa 8 months of imports requirement. In other words, ang sabi sa theory, sa pag-aaral namin, pag meron kang 3 months of your imports requirement, okay ka na. Meron tayong about 8 months, no? So 93.3 billion US dollars at ang tingin namin before the end of the year ay baka abot siya ng mga 96 billion US dollars. The highest yan, Cito. So talagang maganda yung ekonomiya natin kaya naman siguro patuloy na lumalakas yung piso.
Okay, kasi hindi namin napapag-usapan yan. Kanya mabuti yung paminsan-minsan yung nagtatanong yung tanga o yung ignorante para lumalabas. Hindi, kasi ako talaga wala akong alam yan. Di ba?
Tama yan. Kasi sabi ko nga itong crisis nito ay kung di lang, kaya naman humina yung ekonomiya dahil sinadya natin. Ang tawag ko dito recession induced by the lockdown. Kasi hindi natin sitarahin, wala tayong ganitong recession. Kaya lang, siyempre, ang prioridad natin is to save lives instead of livelihood. Ngayon naman, sa tingin ko, oras na para magbukas yung ekonomiya, gradually, but kailangan tayo magbukas na ekonomiya natin.
Okay. Kung papahintulutan mo, Governor, no? Governor. Pareho, tama, Governor. May nagtatanong ding Governor. Hindi ko na muna sasabihin yung pangalan. Ang comment niya, national government wants to do everything, wants to do everything alone when they can reach out and unite all provinces and mayors to spend together as one. That is the great stimulus and injection needed on the ground for businesses to have confidence and move the economy forward. That is, of course, assuming we have COVID under control. I am just proceeding from a logical thought process. Nobody here is trying to be smart, nor do we want to grandstand. That is why I would rather, I think essentially what he's saying is parang yung may Marshall Plan ba? Kasi yun ang lagi kong tinatanong, Gobe. I think he's saying dapat lahat sabay-sabay gumagastos, may pinagkakagastusan para yung mga consumer naman, kung gumagastos si Governor, nagpapagawa ng mga kung ano-ano, o si Mayor, pati ako magpapagawa na rin ng bahay, as you suggested earlier.
Tama yan. Alam mo, ang naisip ko na maganda talaga is what's called Emergency Employment Program na magtutulong-tulong ng national government at saka ang local government. No? So, marami rin pera yung pamahalang lokal mga in fact sa IRA lang nila, if I remember right, siguro maabot na ngayon ng mga 700 billion ang pera ng lokal. Binibigay lang ng national government yan sa kanila. So, why not an employment program where siguro yung barangay will identify kung sinong identify one member of the family. Hindi naman pwedeng 10 member ng family i-employ mo na para ma-distribute. And then 50-50 or 75-25 depende kung ano mapagkayarihan na for every 50% na ilalagay ng local government, may counterpart ang national government, di ba? So magkakaroon ka ng employment at the barangay level. So hindi mo na kailangan magsakay ng tricycle o magsakay ng jeep para doon ka mismo sa barangay mag-create ng employment. Ang dami-dami na dapat gawin, di ba? Maglinis ka lang ng kalye, maglinis ka lang ng ilog, magtanim ka doon you can have a demonstration farm, magtanim ka ng mga puno sa bundok. Ganon. Kaya yung gawin So for every barangay, meron silang employment program. Di ba? Pag meron kang tao, may pera sa bulsa, nakakatulong sa ekonomiya yon.
Tama ka doon, Governor. Kasi, sasabihin ng mga magagaling, hindi, may COVID nga But here's the thing. I saw several barangays locked down all over Metro Manila. And sabi, 48 hours o 7 days lockdown. Sabi ko, magaling. Puro kayo lockdown. May naglilinis ba yung sidewalk? May nagdi-disinfect ba ng mga bahay? Meron bang nagdi-disinfect ng mga kalsada? Wala. So, nilockdown mo lang yung tao, hindi ka naman nagpalinis. But when you mention this emergency employment, naalala ko tuloy kung naalala mo pa nung nagpupunta pa tayo nun sa Tanay, yung nagba-Bible study ako kay President Estrada. Natatandaan mo yung kalsada nun na laging punong-puno. Malapit ang eleksyon nun punong-puno ng mga naglilinis ng kalsada.
Correct.
Hindi na natin sasabihin kung kaninong area yon, pero yun yung emergency
cleaning brigade, employment agency talaga yun, emergency employment. Pwede natin gawin yun, di ba? Pwede natin gawin yun. So for example, you try to hire them for the next 6 months hanggang end of the year man lang para ma-solve natin. Kasi ako, between giving assistance or giving jobs, mas mabuti naman siguro yung giving jobs, di ba? Mas nakakatanggap-tanggap yun, na pinagtrabahuan mo yung kinakain mo, di ba?
At saka makakalabas pa ang tao, naaarawan, napapawisan,
Correct.
nahahanginan, hindi yung nakakulob sila at nagkakasakit. In any case, that is a wonderful suggestion, Governor, and siyempre, hindi ko na po kailangang ulit-ulitin. Every time na nakakausap ko kayo, meron akong natututunan tungkol sa ekonomiya. And I'm really happy. I'm happy we interviewed you this morning because it gives a good picture to an otherwise very challenging week na kung saan tumataas naman ng COVID. Sana habang tumataas yung mga kaso na yon, pataas pa ng pataas yung ating mga savings dyan sa BSP o Forex, etc. Thank you, Governor. But if you have any last words, please go ahead.
Hindi, lagi kong sinasabi, I think this unprecedented crisis, let's not put this to waste. We should learn lessons from it, and then let's take advantage of these lessons and let's adapt it. So pag nagkaroon na ng final settlement, we'll be stronger, the economy will be fairer, and we can be more competitive as a nation.
Okay. Thank you, Governor Ben Diokno. And again, congratulations to your stellar performance at the BSP, as well as your great work at the DBM. We are benefiting from your efforts and, of course, your team at the BSP. Maraming salamat po. Please stay strong, stay safe, stay healthy, and God bless you.
Keep safe.
Okay. That's Governor Ben Diokno of the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas. Ayan po, kayo po ay nadinig nyo na yung magandang balita. Maraming dollars. We have 8 months worth, 93 yata, 93 billion ba yun or something. Pasensya na, medyo ako'y nahihilo ngayon. Okay, I just want to, anyway, nababasa ko kasi paminsan-minsan yung mga comments ng ating mga viewers at nagsasabi nga yung isang viewer natin na dapat ay gumastos ng sabay-sabay yung mga LGUs, mga governors, mayors para makita ng mga mamamayan na may confidence sa economy. At siyempre, pag gumagastos ang governors, mayors, under the direction and approval of the national government, as Governor Ben Diokno pointed out, we can then initiate emergency work programs, hindi lang po sana during the campaign. Kasi yung pinapaturingan ko dun sa sinasabi ko kay Ben Diokno, during those days, meron pong panahon na isang kampanya na uso yung hina-hire ba yung mga nasa barangay na tigalinis, tapos pagsusuotin ng t-shirt, pagkatapos may pangalan Cito's Brigade o Beltran's Clean Up Crew, parang ganon. Actually, nakakapagbigay nga ng trabaho, pero ang punto ay kampanya o politika. But Governor Ben Diokno is suggesting, look, if we want to help people, let's create jobs. And hindi po yung street sweeper, street cleaner. Kasi ang daming mga barangay, sabi ko nga, nala-lockdown. Anak ng ewan, hindi naman nagkakaroon ng disinfection. Kanya po, lockdown tayong lockdown. Tapos may maglalakad, makukuha na naman yung mikrobyo. Dapat linisin natin buong kapaligiran. Kung nakikita nyo paano pinupunasan, nililinis yung mga eroplano, dapat ganun din yung mga tahanan natin. In any case, tama na po sa komentaryo. I think we had a lot of good information today. I pray that you would continue to pray. And as I pointed out earlier, please pray for the President. Pray for all the cabinet members, regardless of whether nabibwisit ka o ikinatutuwa mo, pagdasal mo. Because that is what the Lord said. Honor our father and our mother, and the president is our country's father, symbolic father. And when we honor our leaders, the Lord said, it all will go well with us and we will have long lives. May you have a long life. Sabi nga ni Dr. Spock, be well and prosper. God bless all of you.